If you've started your business, you might be getting ready for growth. At least in the past couple of years, I have hit multiple growth spurts, and at every different plateau, there are new actions you need to take. For me, 3 years ago, this meant that I had to hire my first full-time team members, but a couple of years before that, it actually meant that I had to start investing in systems because I was doing too many things manually. Hello, and welcome to Play to Win, the show where we turn your passion into profits so you can live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van der Putten from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday. Growing up, I feel like in Belgium especially, we get taught that you need to do things yourself, what this leads to at a later age, and I hear friends or people in my environment say this often, for example, like, oh, I don't want to pay $6 for an app because I don't think it's worth it. And what I like to do there, and what I really had to teach myself because I was there as well, I used to not want to pay €5 to get my groceries delivered, for example. But at a certain point, I started realizing like, if I don't want to pay €5 to get my groceries delivered, what does that mean? How much time do I need to actually spend in the grocery store? And I started looking at it like, okay, driving there, driving back. And then it was about an hour in the store. And I realized that me not wanting to pay €5 for the delivery actually meant that I was putting a €5 value on my time of that hour. And I was like, whoa, that's not good. And that perspective really started shifting a lot of things for me because I was studying full time back then at university, studying for a business degree. And at the same time, I was working really hard, many hours a week, early mornings, late nights in my personal training business. And I started seeing like, I can't do everything myself. It's also not like I wanted to hire people, but I did feel like I'm going to have to start shifting so I can grow my business, although it's really busy. Disney? Did I say Disney? It's like Disney, but for your business. Disney. So although I was really busy, busy in your business, I decided like, okay, I gotta get less busy. At least the little time I have to spend on the right stuff. So one of the first things I did is, against other people's judgment, I found myself a cleaning help because I was like, I'm so bad at cleaning. She's much faster at it than I am, and in the time that she's working, I can actually work on my university assignments, or I can work on my business or see clients. So I realized fairly quickly, like, hey, if I can make €30 an hour and I need to pay someone €10 an hour, that's an opportunity cost of €20 an hour. So I shouldn't be cleaning my own apartment. That's actually costing me money. And that mindset shift really got me to this point where all of a sudden I was like, well, making invoices isn't that hard, but it is taking up maybe half an hour, maybe an hour. And I found a system, and that system cost me $10 an hour, a month. And I was like, well, wow, $10. I mean, I don't want to have $100 in systems is what I thought at the time. But then I realized like, wow, okay, how much time does this actually save me? And I saw that it actually saved me, accumulated in a month, much more than an hour. And again, there I was like, well, my time is worth more than $10 an hour. So I started implementing these tiny systems. This was way before I hired virtual assistants and then my first full-time team members, but I just started implementing those systems. And looking back, I wish I would have done that much sooner, because what I did back then is like I would compare and review systems for hours on end. Holy shit, was there a big cost to my time back then? And over the years, I've just realized that no software is perfect. You just got to make sure that it does what it needs to do. It hits your main things. It's kind of like when you want to buy a house or an apartment, you're like, oh, I want a separate toilet and I want a garage and I want a balcony. Well, you're not going to get all three, choose two. That's kind of the same with software. So I decided, okay, I'm going to make my life and my business much easier. And I'm going to invest in a couple of those software systems. But it's not just about getting more efficient and saving time. It's also about what can we do to make our business grow? Which tools, what software do you need in order to kickstart your growth? I'm going to talk to you about the 3 biggest things that I've used in the past that have really helped me out. So the first thing is actually having a system for your email marketing. So back in the days, there weren't as many systems. I know this makes me sound really old. Well, I recently turned 30. So we're kind of nearing that phase where I can't be the cool 22-year-old who started a business anymore. Gotta be responsible and not make that many jokes in my podcast. JK, I'm still gonna make so many stupid jokes. Okay, so when I started and I created my first online course, I didn't know how to edit. Just gonna put this out there. I recorded the same video 13 times at a Friday night, 11 p.m. in the dark. I didn't know how to edit, so the moment I made one mistake or I didn't love one part of my video, I had to redo it. 13 takes. And I created this video course of 31 videos. I recorded with my MacBook. I didn't have a camera or lights. Like, who has that in that time frame? Didn't know how to edit, so every video was just recorded, just like staring at 6 a.m. in my laptop. What's that called? A webcam. Yeah, because iPhones weren't that good back then. And people would sign up. So I had offline clients, which means in-person clients, sign up for my online course. So they would literally just pay me, I think, cash for the online course. And then I would have to send them an email with the video of the day every day. Don't think I automated that. Don't you think I had a sequence set up? I didn't know how sequences worked back then or if they existed. So I just had this Excel file, and every night I'd be like, okay, Sarah is at day 5, so she now needs this email. And I would be manually sending out the emails of the program every night. Didn't have a newsletter, didn't have a website. This is how I ran my first online product. I manually sent out the day of which email which person needed with the video of the day, and they were all hosted on Vimeo. Vimeo, good software, but that's not the tool I want to recommend to you. No. My tool I recommend for you to automate some things in your business is your email service provider. I currently use ConvertKit. I'm not 100% happy with it. It does most of what I needed to do right now. I've heard a lot of good things about ActiveCampaign, but back when I started, I used Aweber. And Aweber was, the tool I used back then. But what can you do to grow your business? Well, what you can do when you want to grow your business, for example, when a customer signs up, you can add a tag and you can enroll them into a welcome in your business sequence, an onboarding sequence. For example, when someone buys a product from me, they will get a first email to tell them, hey, this is where you can find everything. And maybe a month later, they'll get an email like, hey, were you satisfied, for example. But you could also automate the fact that every week I send out an email for my podcast, and I want my audience to continue listening to the podcast. So every Tuesday, an email goes out. 2 emails go out, actually, one in Dutch and one in English. We're not doing that manually at 7 a.m. I used to do it like that because I was just unprepared AF. But we actually just plan that in way in advance, so it's much more efficient, and it makes it so that our marketing is really consistent. So using it as broadcast planning tool is fairly obvious, and you notice, yet I don't know many starting entrepreneurs who actually do plan and stuff. They're always just sending out things the moment of, and often people will have people sign up for a newsletter, but then not send them anything. So setting up a welcome sequence is also something that will really help you. Why is this tool so important for the growth of your business? Well, if you are just growing your socials, but you're not getting people's email address, you're basically building a house on borrowed land. That's not good. Facebook isn't yours, Instagram isn't yours, TikTok is definitely not yours. And however much I love me some social media, and it has helped me grow over the years, the biggest mistake I made, or one of the biggest mistakes I've made in my career, was overthinking and postponing growing my email list. So start growing that email list, because once your Facebook account gets hacked or your Instagram disappears or whatnot, you will at least still have access to the email list. And when people tell you email broadcasts are dead, it's like people telling you Facebook is dead. I have the largest Dutch-speaking community for ambitious female entrepreneurs in Belgium on Facebook. Facebook is definitely not dead. I co-founded that with my best friend 5 years ago, and whenever people say Facebook is dead, we're like, is it? Pro tip, by the way, when people say something is dead, it's because they're not getting the right results out of it, and that means that you actually have an opportunity to kick ass there. Maybe I should start taking LinkedIn seriously. That's a story for a different time. I just can't seem to become a LinkedIn person. I think it reminds me too much of school and corporate structures, which I really hate. I don't know. Does anyone here like LinkedIn? Do you guys like LinkedIn? No. But then I'm also surrounded by Gen Zs in my team. So I think that actually, I'm going to say the older people in our business, the more mature people in the fast forward business, they do use LinkedIn, no? Well, I'm surrounded by a bunch of 25, 27. How old are you guys? I have no... Zit jij nog altijd maar 24? Still only 24. So tiny baby eagle. We have one team member who started working with us 2 years ago, and I started calling her Baby Eagle. And the funny part is, whenever I ask Siri in the car to call Amber, it says, calling Baby Eagle. It cracks me up. Okay, this has nothing to do with the episode. Continuing as planned, we don't have to cut anything out, not even a Dutch sentence. I'm just going to keep rolling. So an email marketing tool, so important because I do this little funny exercise with myself. I'm like, what if my Instagram account would get hacked? And then there's this little devil inside of me that pops up. I'm like, this would be a really great challenge to see how fast you could build it again. And you would send out an email blast. So I would definitely revert to my email list. So this is just my cue to you. Please start using an email marketing tool. Email service provider is what they call this. There are a bunch of different systems for this. If you don't know where to get started, I actually have a systems Bible. Is it called Systems Bible? I think it is. FastForwardAmy.com/Systems Bible. And I think it has my top 10 systems you can use for yourself in there. From planning tools to other stuff. Talking about planning tools is actually the second tool I would recommend you use. And I know you're thinking, I love Trello, I love Asana, or I love Notion, but you know what the best tool in the fucking world is? Google Sheets. So just a spreadsheet. Or like it's written in my note, an Excel space heat. There was a little typo in my notes. Just a simple Excel sheet where you write the task, and next to the task you have a deadline, and then you add a sort, and you're like, sort based on deadline. It's the best fucking time management system in the entire world. And then you can add the Google Sheets app to your phone, and there you go. So for all my notebook lovers, I'm one of you. I have approximately 451 notebooks scattered in my house. I'm actually not even kidding because I just had a bunch of notebooks made, and I will probably average around, 500 notebooks in my house. Yeah, I don't think we're exaggerating there. And the problem with that is that when we are working hard on our business, being busy, we are like, oh, I have so much in my brain. I should write this down. Oh, here's a Post-it. Oh, here's a to-do. Oh, different notebook in my, forgot my notebook. I'll just write it down on my iPhone. Oh, here's my laptop. Oh, Apple Notes. Oh, how nice. Oh, iCloud disconnected. Oops. Oh. And the initial overwhelm you had in your brain has now gotten a lot worse because you were not catching everything in one spot. This is what I like to call in my Fast Forward Academy with all of my business coaches, the catch, batch, act principle. You can't take action and batch all of your tasks if you didn't catch it in one spot. And a good task management tool is one of the best things you can invest in. And investing in doesn't mean you have to pay a couple of dollars a month for it, like you would pay for an Asana or something. I highly recommend just using something like Google Sheets. This is what I prefer. You can, make it vertical, horizontal, however way you want it. Use an hour to set it up and color code it in the way you like it. Make it nice and pink if you want to. Make it a place you love being. That's my best tip. Make it so that your task manager is something that you're like, oh, let me just go and see what I can cross off of my list. But make it accessible. So the reason why writing it down in all kinds of different spots doesn't work is you're overwhelmed in your brain. So you're trying to catch the tasks, but then they're scattered. So you actually don't trust yourself to take action on the different tasks. And that's why you then also stop writing the to-do list. So just make sure that you put everything in one spot. And if you are using something like Google Sheets, make sure that it's also easily accessible on your phone because you will think about it at times that you don't have your laptop with you, probably. And what's really important there, obviously, is to actually use deadlines. And what I also like to add is, for example, task types is what I use. For example, I have busy buffer tasks. Busy buffer tasks are call someone back, or for me, it would be pay an invoice or sign a contract that has been proofread. A busy buffer task is not proofreading a contract that's 20 pages long and really difficult. Busy buffer stuff is things I do when I'm a little bit tired. At the end of the day where I'm like, I don't want to be bothered, but this is stuff I need to do. I'll do the busy buffer stuff and I'll sort it in my task manager, which is Notion, but I don't love it. I know, please don't send the Notion police to me. I don't love the system. I'm using it in my entire business, but for me, it's not perfect. What I do like is the fact that you can make it pretty. My big wet dream is moving over to ClickUp, but it seems super difficult. So I'm stuck in Notion now. And also my team will get a heart attack if I migrate the system, which at some point this year is going to happen. And then they're going to hate/love me. I've been working with a mindset coach and she said, I'm a verbal processor. I'm like, yeah, no shit. My podcast is my personal diary. Okay, so your task manager, make sure you use it consistently, add the deadlines, and then the task types. So for me, what that also means is creating content is one of my task types. So sometimes I have to make stories, I have to record a reel, and I have to write an email. Those are all create content tasks. And then I will also maybe have to decide on pricing for a new program, which is something it hurts my brain to think about stuff like that. So that is a strategy task. So I have the tasks I need to do. I have the deadlines for the tasks. If there isn't a deadline, it's something optional. It's never going to happen. And I have the task types, and then I sort based on the task types so that I can use the same parts of my brain as I'm doing these things. So a good task manager will allow you to sort on deadlines. It will allow you to sort on types of work or like batch stuff together. It needs to help you. So you will probably invest a bit of time into getting it set up in the beginning, but afterwards it's going to make your work much easier because you won't have to do as many context switches in your brain. So of course you can use a lot of task managers, project management tools, all of that stuff. My preference when it's just you, Google Sheets. Yeah, I'm not an affiliate. I don't know the people from Google. They don't know me. But they're watching. Okay, so we already talked about how you can grow your business is by implementing email marketing. It's going to help your sales, it's going to help your marketing, it's going to give you more control over your leads and your customers. Second system I would definitely use to make everything more efficient is a task manager. You can Google what are the 10 best task managers for solopreneurs, or you can just use something like an Excel file or whatever. And then last but not least is actually a financial tracking tool. And I used to build this when I was a personal trainer manually, also in Google Sheets, just literally day by day, be like, this is what came in, this is what people paid me, this is what went out today. So I would just like track it manually per day. Of course, in today's day and age, you also have a bunch of apps. I have this app on my phone right now. The reporting isn't amazing, but it's called Money Flow, and it helps me keep track of my private expenses. But you can also add different categories and add business expenses to it as well. Now, at this time, I have a bunch of different shop systems. So I use Plug and Pay for people to buy stuff from me. I also have Shopify. Sometimes people actually send me transfers, like just transferring their money. I don't know how you say that in English. So it gets to be a bit much. So what I tend to do is, for example, for my other business, every week, I just look at it all together. I haven't automated a lot of it. So I'll just log into the systems and like collect all of the data, and I have a sum in one cell. I'm like, okay, this is how much money we made this month, for example. But you can also automate this. Usually, if you want to aggregate, is that the word? Everything in one spot. Google Spreadsheets is also going to be probably the tool you need for that. If you only use one system, for example, if you are getting everything in your Shopify, then your Shopify could also just show you what's coming in, but then you still don't have what's coming out. So I would just recommend you choose one spot where you manage all of your money. For me, because the business has been growing and growing, obviously there's a lot of expenses I don't make, but they just get made. Magically, money flows out of my business every month. So I have my accounting system, and on top of that, and that's called Exact Online. And then on top of that, I use Silverfin, where basically everything from my business gets combined, and I have a fairly good real-time view of what's happening, but I set that up together with my accountants. Now, it doesn't need to be fancy. It could be Post-its, but you do just need to know what's coming in and what's going out. So for what's coming in, it could be that you manually just add it all up at the end of the day. And what's going out could be the same. You could be like income, expenses. If it's just you and you don't have online stuff happening, it could just be like that. But if you have a store, it might be your shop system plus the cash in your cash register. Just figure out a way that you have a really good overview of your cash, literally what's coming in and what's going out, because that will enable you to make better decisions in the future. And if we're talking about literal software and tools, my best recommendation there is that you do use an invoicing system if you have to send out invoices. So for example, in my Shopify, I included an invoicing add-on. It's called Sufio. So I can send Belgian invoices because that's very different in the US. So that's called Sufio. If you want information about that, I listed a help article on my website, I think. But on top of that, I also just sometimes have regular invoices I need to make. And that's what I started using many, many years ago. And that's called Wave Apps. And Wave Apps allows me to create a customer profile once, and then I can just send them invoices. It adds up the invoices, and it also sends a reminder. So I also like the financial systems kind of detaching the personal part from the invoicing part, so it doesn't get annoying. You're like, hello, can you please pay? No, the system just sent a reminder. As a coach in a service-based industry, I like to detach myself from the money part, where I have to remind people of the fact that maybe their visa was canceled or something like that. It just saves a lot of time. And once you have control over your numbers, you can use that to make decisions to help your business grow. If you don't have any control over your numbers, it's going to be really difficult to determine, am I ready to take a risk? Am I ready to invest or not? And you're going to stay at a standstill. I explain more about this in my program, The Bold Money Makeover, by the way. If you are interested in that program, feel free to send us an email at team@fastforwardamy.com. I've created it in Dutch. In the future, I'm also going to be recording it in English. If you're interested in it, go and check out our shop. You will find it there in Dutch. And if you want to be kept posted, that's not a sentence, but you know what I mean, about the program in English, feel free to shoot us an email. Okay, so we talked about all of this, but what we didn't talk about is that there are a lot of principles guiding you in the decisions of your business. When you spend money on something or not, do you prioritize cash or marketing? How do you make all of these different decisions? I had a really long, hard think about that, and I created my business Bible with a bunch of the principles that have helped me guide my decisions throughout the years, and that you really do need to revert back to when you are in those growing stages of your business. So my business Bible is available to you for free if you go and grab it through fastforwardamy.com/business Bible. It did not escape your notice that I also talked about my systems Bible. So I only have 2 Bibles, and accidentally I talked about both of them in this episode. And now I'm looking at my content strategist, and I'm pretty sure she assumed I was only going to talk about the systems Bible because I already talked about it in the beginning of the episode. But no, I did not. I talked about all of the different things. So if you're interested in systems, go and check out the Systems Bible, linked in the description. If you're interested in all of the principles to skyrocket your success, there are 29 principles, go and check out the Business Bible. Both can be found through fastforwardamy.com/Bible, Business Bible or Systems Bible. And we've linked it up as always. And that's it for today, folks. No, it's not. If you're here and you're like, wow, this Amy girl, she's crazy, but I also love the crazy and I love the energy. Well, you've never met me live, maybe, but live I am even crazier and I make even more sex jokes. And also I help you to run a profitable business. So if you're currently at this point where you're like, I want to make more profits, but I don't know what to do and I get overwhelmed so quickly, let me guide you this summer towards a profitable business in my business summer school. Best of all, it is free, but only during the month of August. So go and check out the business summer school on our website, or the description that has also been added and has so many different links now that our copywriter is going to hate me. She will also listen to this. Hello, Megan. What's up? It is me from the past. The business summer school is really amazing. Me and my team are running it every Monday through Thursday, the month of August. You can catch the recordings as well if you can attend live. It's every morning at 9 a.m. and we're going to turn your passion into profits. Basically, we're going to take you from overthinking and dreaming but not doing to actually daring and doing. So go and sign up through fastforwardamy.com/bus. And now I'm going to go because I still have 29 minutes left for one more podcast episode. So stay tuned for the episode of next week. It's going to be a quick one. Bye.